Yeah, it's gonna go. It's counting down till it goes. All right, the podcast guys live. We're just about to get started here tonight or this morning. All right, so we are just getting started here on the show. All right, guys. So welcome to the podcast, guys. Live. A little bit after 4 a.m. on the East Coast. We're going in hard late or early if you want to look at it differently. But welcome to the podcast, guys. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Facebook, Spotify, and Threads, the podcast, guys. So check us out there. Make sure you guys send in a comment if you want to participate in the show. Super chat in your comment. We'll be happy to discuss it. And a question, if you have any questions, make sure you send that in as well. But without further ado, we're going to get into a topic tonight. Probably keep it nice and short, as we will have a special guest tomorrow, or shall I say today. We'll have a special guest on the show. So make sure you support, make sure you subscribe, and follow us, because we are just getting this rolling in 2026. So, Rob, what is the topic of the evening or the morning?
So today's topic is going to be how feminism has destroyed dating. Now, I wanted to introduce this topic by bringing you guys back to COVID times. March 2020, the mass media basically convinced us that a magical virus came out of nowhere. We're all going to die. We have to social distance, lock ourselves in the house, and the cure was to get a magical shot. And in a matter of weeks, they somehow convinced the whole world that this is a real thing. And it wasn't until it all ended where people kind of looked back at it and went like, well, that was all bullshit. It took us some time, but I think at some point, even the people that were really convinced that this is real looked back at it and went like, what the fuck were we thinking? Wearing a mask for 2 years, getting shots, locking ourselves in the house. You could have just told us it's the flu. Flu has been a thing for decades. People got flu shots for decades. So I wanted to start off by bringing that up because feminism, in my opinion, is very similar to COVID. Okay? Women have been brainwashed into believing certain things. They're not using logic. They're not really thinking on their own. They've been brainwashed into believing certain things about themselves. They have been brainwashed into believing certain things about men, about dating, about marriage. So we're going to get into a few different ways that feminism has essentially ruined modern dating, relationships, marriage. So you want to kick us off?
Absolutely. One of those is just the unclear and conflicting dating expectations that we currently have. So, when it comes to feminism, there's this equality aspect of it where women feel the need to be equal to men. But what's funny is that, if anything, they have more advantages than men. So there's no real clear expectations, and everything's just kind of all out of sorts all over the place. So in both roles, men and women, it's tough to figure out how one should act within said relationship. And that's what's causing the issue. Who's leading? Who's following? Who's masculine? Who's feminine? Who's supposed to really take charge and make things happen to make sure that relationship thrives and pretty much takes off. And it's one of those things where it seems like things are very confusing nowadays, which is why there's all these issues with dating.
Well, I'll tell you what I find ironic about feminism right out the gate. What was feminism supposed to achieve? Well, women wanted equality. They wanted the same equal rights as men. They wanted to make the same money as men. And they were able to achieve that. We now live in a world where, I know women will argue that they're not paid the same. Women are paid the same. Women could be attorneys. They could be doctors. They could be whatever they want. However, now that they've become our equals, here we are again where they expect us to make more, right or wrong.
Absolutely.
No woman wants a man that makes less than her. No woman wants, for the most part, a man that makes the same amount. They want somebody that makes a substantial amount more than them. So, in a way, it has kind of leveled us. Men and women, in a weird way, are kind of in this career kind of competition. But they still want a man that makes more than them, that's better than them.
It's sort of like a tug of war. It's sort of like a competition. Women are pulling on one side, men are pulling on the other side, and men are really unsure of their expectations, what's expected of them within that relationship. So there's men that are really good men, they treat women well, but women don't like that. Then there's men that try to be the bad boy, and then it's just kind of trying to over impress women, and then that turns them off. They try to be gentlemen, that turns them off, and then women really try to lead and take the initiative, but that's not the way it works if you want it to work the right way. So what should men do in this case? If men don't know what is expected of them, what's the best way for men to take charge of their dating life?
Well, look, the first thing I'll tell you, and I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. We were just watching it live, and I'll tie this in. I would say the most important thing you have to learn as a man is that all the things that you're told to do, be masculine, work hard, pay the bills, all of that stuff works only if you are dealing with a woman that wants you, that's attracted to you. It only works in that particular case, because you could be everything and more for women nowadays. You could be masculine, tall, you could go to the gym, you could pay the bills. And we all know that if you deal with a woman that's not right for you, a woman that has her 1 foot in, 1 foot out, doesn't really see you that way, she's eventually going to cheat or leave you. We see it all the time in marriage. We've been doing this for 2.5 years. We've done plenty of episodes on the divorce rate. 70% or 80% of women initiate divorces. So the first thing I'll say is that nowadays, I think you have to be very careful and selective with who you put your effort into.
Absolutely. I mean, one of those things when it comes to feminism and the problems that there are is role confusion. So
yeah,
there is the situation where, let's say, men take a woman out to dinner, but she also wants to take charge within the relationship. So it's like, well, the guy is still supposed to pay, right, and take care of the woman for that dinner. He's taking her out. But the way the woman acts within that relationship, it's not representing her part. It's not representing the feminine part where she should be led and she follows. It's kind of the other way around. So she wants her cake and wants to eat it too. She wants to lead. She wants to take charge of the relationship. She wants things to go her way. But then the man still has to pay, still has to protect, still has to act like he's leading. So there's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of back and forth, really, I guess, going at each other, not figuring out what the best way to do it is. And the best way is the traditional way, but women don't want to follow that traditional rule. They still want men to pay, they still want men to protect, they still want men to do all these things, but they also want to lead, they want to make a ton of money, they want to be independent. So there's a bit of a clash between men and women on both sides. That's why there's hard times with dating.
One of the ways that feminism has brainwashed women, and I want you guys to really think about this, it has convinced women that they are better off going to college, getting a degree, signing up for some soul-sucking job that you know they don't like, and to be at an office 10, 12 hours a day and to focus on that. That's your purpose in life. That's what's going to make you happy. And then 10 years, 15 years, 20 years pisses away. A lot of these women get to a certain age, they're depressed. They don't have a boyfriend. They're on painkillers and antidepressants. They have no kids. And by then, remember that reference I made before with COVID? You look back at it and you're like, fuck, I can't believe I fell for this bullshit. I was taught to believe that my purpose in life is to have a career, to focus on myself, my own independence. Men bad, men evil. They're just trying to have sex with me. And this is what's happening in real time. Modern women would rather avoid the average Joe Schmo like the plague and sign up for some career that they hate, but it makes them feel empowered, whatever the fuck that means, and to live that type of a lifestyle and to avoid marriage, to avoid kids, to avoid, God forbid, they stay home cook and clean. Like, that's such a bad life. But most women nowadays, if you tell them like, hey, I'd like you to just stay home, not be a bitch, don't treat me like shit, just cook and clean, and they're gonna tell you, what, are you out of your mind? That's misogynist.
Absolutely, absolutely. Shout out to Hoodlum575. Thank you for the support and the gift there. I mean, absolutely. There's the issue when it comes to women and trying to reason with them. You're trying to really have, whether it's formal or informal, some conversation with trying to find a middle ground. And it's just really difficult to do so when they don't want to understand or compromise with where you're coming from. That makes things difficult. I mean, women being empowered by feminism means that their expectations are highly increased. They want as much as possible from a man. And it's understood because men understand what women expect and want and whatnot. But for a man to be all the things that women want, women also have to be all the things that men want as well. They have to be feminine. They have to be willing to understand their man and not argue with their man and bring peace to their man and not give him headaches. But there's also, things that men are expected to do, and men get that. It just doesn't seem clear cut for women to understand that things are expected from them as well. So with all the options that there are nowadays, women become pickier. It's understood. If you're a pretty woman and you try to date a guy, but he's not up to par with your expectations, you're going to evaluate all the options that you have, right? Because you have a lot of guys hitting you up. It's understood and it makes sense. But there's a problem when women lower in the scale, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, looks wise, they're lower. They're expecting one of those higher end men as well. So it's kind of getting out of hand a little bit. And, where will it go? It seems like it will, go in a worse direction. But, we're here to kind of change the trajectory on that a little bit. So what's another issue that's...
Yeah, tying it right back into that, another thing I see a lot is, in a way, feminism has kind of taught women that, for the most part, most men are somehow your enemy. And you see it in their demeanor and how they talk about men. We get accused of being misogynist all the time because we talk about these type of toxic. Oh, you guys, I saw somebody write it before. You guys hate women, just date each other. That we're not here to hate women. most men don't hate women, but I would reframe that and say that men hate what women have turned into and what they're becoming, because we
100%.
clearly see it from our end. I don't know how much more fucking clear it could be.
Yeah, I mean, we're awake to it. It seems like a lot of people are waking up to it. A lot of men are waking up to it. There's still some men, even some men in this chat here, that may not be awakened to that. And, they're going to run into a rude awakening at some point. But we are hoping that we're able to kind of spark a little flame in their ass to try to get them to really get things going for themselves and really be a man, as women say, right? Women want men to be a man. So you kind of have to be over masculine, to compete with the masculinity that women have currently.
I'll give you another bullshit lie that feminism is preaching, and this is purely feminist propaganda, in my opinion. You'll hear this from time to time. Women will say, "Oh, men aren't men anymore. Men are becoming more feminine." I don't see any evidence of that. Look, we live in Jersey. I don't see that many feminine men here. New York City, we're talking like Manhattan, Bronx, Queens, all masculine men. The entire southern U.S., these are all blue-collar workers. These guys wake up 5 a.m., frame a fucking house, drink a 12-pack, go wake up and do it. Where are these feminine men? The only feminine men that I see are maybe the ones that live in these like liberal cities, the Seattle, Washington, certain parts of California. But like the Northeast, southern U.S., the Midwest, men aren't becoming feminine. I would say what's happening is a lot of these women are becoming masculine, and in contrast to their masculinity, maybe they're in return seeing men as more feminine. But I don't see any evidence of men becoming more feminine. Most men do what? Work, pay bills. Generally speaking, men are more responsible with managing money. A lot of men are getting into the gym now. We've been going to the gym for like 10 plus years. I see more and more young men signing up to the gym. Where are these feminine men? That's all feminist propaganda, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, more and more the difficult jobs out there that you see, men are the ones that are taking charge of those jobs.
Correct.
So you don't really see, women on those type of job sites. That's why, we debunked the pay gap a while ago. There's other podcasts as well that have debunked it. There's really no pay gap. It's just a matter of what kind of work men and women do and how long they work, overtime, any specific specialties involved. So, there's men that are putting in the work more and more nowadays. I mean, we see it, like you said, with the gym. We see guys putting more work into themselves, trying to make themselves better, which is great. But there are, men that have a lot of work to do to be able to at least match the expectations. Forget about exceeding expectations that women have. It's really tough to do so. But to match their expectations. But at the end of the day, you don't want to really be truly aiming to impress women in any way. It's really to work on yourself, always to get that woman to come after you, right? You don't want to chase women. It doesn't make sense.
I remember what I was going to say. So I know this is going to piss some of you off, but we were watching a live stream with Myron Gaines, Nick Fuentes, Sneeko, Clavicular was there. And they rented they got a section in Vendome in Miami, right? They had a line of girls waiting to go into the section. And Myron leaned into Clavicular and he was like, "Look, you have to be cutthroat with these broads. When they come up to you, you have to tell them straight up. Are you down to smash? If not, get lost. Because we have like 50 other broads." I know that's offensive. I know that's sexist. A lot of you are going to think that's misogynist. But you know where that came from? That type of interaction with women. The reason that we have to speak that way is because these broads nowadays will walk all over your shit if you're not like that. They will come in. They'll drink your booze. They'll waste your money. They'll waste your time. Enjoy themselves and then bounce.
100%. I mean, it's one of those things where they'll take advantage of the resources, quote unquote, that they provide.
They are designed to do so.
They'll take it and they won't even hang out with you or give you the time of day. I mean, they'll hang out with you there because they're getting drinks and they're getting maybe some attention. But besides that,
we watched the stream and I was waiting. I was like, okay, so the girl agreed to it. Let's just wait and see what happens. And he did the right move because shortly afterwards, Clavicular was like, you know what, let's get the hell out of here. Because if they stuck around too long, the girl could have just flaked because women are experts at flaking. But I just wanted to throw that in there because we get called misogynist all the time, and a lot of the way we frame certain things, women are like, "Oh, how could you think that way? It sounds like you hate women." No, it just unfortunately this is how we have to counter the modern woman.
100%, 100%. Again, those of you that are supporting or hating, thank you for being on. If you want your comment to be read, we're only paying really close attention to the super chat. So if you want to super chat a comment or question in, feel free to do so. But we're going to keep going. The increase of dating competitiveness, that's something that is really causing an issue between men and women, and why feminism is really affecting dating in a negative way. It being competitive, women having so many options and men not having as many options. What does that mean now in this dating market?
We've all heard this one: 80% of women go after 20% of the guys, and this is true in online dating apps. It's true in person. Most women want nothing to do with the average man, and again, this is a direct result of feminism. At some point in time, why is it that like 20, 30 years ago, there was no such thing as like red pill? There was no such thing as dating coaches. That was unheard of. Talk to somebody that like grew up in like the 60s, 70s, 80s. There was no such thing as a dating coach because it wasn't necessary. Most average guys could go to a local bar, go somewhere in their area, and just talk to women freely, and it worked. It doesn't work anymore because the majority of women want nothing to do with you unless you are a guy of status, unless you're a guy that's important, you're a guy that has money, you have a career that could secure a certain lifestyle for them. That's how dating works now.
It's funny because, if they taught this shit at school, I think people would be more.
They should have taught it at school. But I think, honestly, they probably didn't even foresee this shit coming to where it is nowadays.
I mean, that people would be more apt to understanding how relationships work, not only relationships between men and women, but friendships and just building connections and networking, etc. I think it's something that kind of is a missed out opportunity in a college setting. I think there should be some sort of relationship 101 or something, because it's really, really tough out here for both men and women. There's so much competition against men. Women have all the support from many men, but it's like, what do you choose? And then you have this kind of overinflation of self-worth that I'm an independent babe, I'm a boss bitch, etc. And that's cool and all, but for women, how can they have a fulfilling relationship having that mindset? And then for men, how can they compete in this dating market when you have top tier men that have it all, being able to obtain these women one by one? So it's kind of an unfair advantage, but it's not really equal when it comes to, feminism being equal and whatnot. It's not really equal. It's something that is just really hurting both sides, if anything. And sometimes you go through some clips on social media and you see that there is women complaining about feminism and they want it rolled back because it's not what it seems to be. And there are some positives. I mean, there may be some healthier relationships from it, but it's a rarity. It just boggles my mind where it's gone and how it's been used, because it hasn't been used the right way. It should have been used properly, but feminism has just kind of gone off the rails, just like the use of social media has gone off the rails, right? Everything was made for a positive action to be taken, but it's gone the other way and used in a negative way. And the creation of feminism is one of those examples. So how can things change? Well, it has to change from within. Each person has to want to change. There's women out there that are exceptional, and they don't have that mindset where they're going to go out and just expect things from a man and just try to take his resources and time and waste it. There are women that are going to cherish it. There's women that are going to use it wisely and respect that guy. There are men that will maybe also use it negatively. So there's men out there that don't do it properly. So there's a lot on both sides that the issues are occurring right now. So you have another.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this is a pretty big one, but and I think as guys, we can all, for the most part, agree on this. I think that women have really lost their true purpose in life. We all have mothers, we all have aunts, grandmothers, great grandmothers. I think we can all look back at their lives and say that they've done an amazing job raising kids, grandkids, cooking, cleaning, and it was always something that was cherished and respected in the family. And feminism has killed all of that. Because now you tell a woman to cook and clean, she's like, "What? I'm not your slave. I'm not your mother. It's not about being a slave or your mother. That is your role. You just somehow were just like I used the whole COVID thing. During COVID, people just logic went out the window and we were brainwashed to just, oh yeah, like we were like hypnotized. And this is what feminism has done to these broads. I can't even tell you, I can't even pinpoint at one point it really happened because I want to say up to a certain point, like you remember like 2008, 9, 10, 11, it wasn't that rampant. At some point, it really took off.
Probably around 2013, 14 when Instagram came about.
There you go.
I mean, Facebook came out around what, 2007, 2008. But more or less, Instagram and showing different lifestyles and comparing.
No, these broads are lost. This girl that I smashed a while back in Miami, like she travels a lot. And, like you could tell, like she's done for. Like, well, she gets smashed in all these different countries. All she does is travel. Somebody's paying for her and just clapping her cheeks lower. And she sent me this snap one time, and she's like, "I'm not gonna settle because I have because she watches our shit. She was probably just like, trying to make fun of what we're saying. She's like, I have standards and boundaries, and I was like, you've been getting your cheeks clapped all over the world. Like no man respects you or sees you as girlfriend or wife material. Like these guys are just literally like paying you. You're basically a prostitute.
And that's the worst thing, that women can put themselves in this position, because I would see women as being more of respectable beings, and then they're just putting themselves into being used as
How
well.
How can women demand high standards if they don't bring the value men want from those high standard type of men? Does that make sense? Like, as a woman, I'm not here to tell you what your standards should be, but if you're telling me that you want a man that makes whatever, 200K, 500K, I've heard all types of wild shit, millionaire, don't you think, isn't it logical that you have to act a certain way? Shouldn't you figure out what men are attracted to?
I mean, I think some women are okay with just showing up and
because
using their looks as
the
value, but that's really, they're misinterpreting what the value they bring to the table. So, which they should bring value to the table. If they want men to bring something to the table, we always hear that. What do men bring to the table? They have to provide more value than just looks.
A woman's looks are important. It's number one.
Definitely.
But what about 2, 3, 4, 5? A lot of these women have zero problems getting men. As a woman nowadays, like you could get laid yesterday. Like, there's a line of guys that are going to run through you. The problem these women have is they can't keep a man if their life depended on it, because they have no idea how to do it. Or it's not that they don't know how to do it. They just would rather stay single and whore around.
I think they've become more selective. That's one of those things that they don't even care about financial security, because women are making money, which makes sense.
Yeah, right.
But what's crazy to me is that women prefer to work and be independent and make money and all these things, versus being with a guy that can take care of them, that makes a good living, a solid living, an above average living. Forget about, millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, but someone that's making, I would say someone that's making, even though in this economy it's pretty tough, but 80, 90K, and then she's home and, cleaning, cooking. I would, as a woman, like I would think women would want to prefer to just stay home, cook, clean, relax, and not go too crazy, instead of going out and having some big career and making all this money, for really no reason, when they have a guy to provide money, to provide financial stability or more financial freedom, if anything. It's surprising that they pick working hard over, working hard and having a career versus a guy that could take care of them. You know, and you do see women that end up quitting their careers when they have a guy that I guess picks them up. You know, they start a relationship and they get serious, they get married and whatnot, and it works out. But I'm just surprised that they rather work their asses off, make their own money, and not try to find a guy that they can work at a traditional relationship where she's home doing the home things and the guy's out making money, providing, protecting, etc. I'm just surprised.
Women fell for that trap because remember, feminism was marketed to women as an empowerment movement. How great does that sound? We are empowering women. So of course, as a woman, you're gonna be like, yeah, I want to be empowered. How do I do that? Oh, well, it's easy. You just get 3 master's degree and get your own job and start a business and work for the next 40 years. And I think what's going to happen is women are going to realize that they made a mistake, but it's going to happen much later in life. Unfortunately. Yes, you'll be successful. Yes, you've proved the point that you don't need a man. We hear that all the time. I don't need a man. We're not saying you do need a man. Clearly, you're self-sufficient. You got your own degree, your own business. You're making more money than probably most men are. But 20 years from now, are you going to be happy? Is your life going to be fulfilled? Or are you going to be a 7-year-old woman in a rocking chair looking back like, yeah, that's the way I should have played it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They're going to realize it, but it's going to be too late. And we see it. We clearly see it. Look, as a man, you're never going to regret. You're never going to like look back at your life and be like, I shouldn't have worked as hard. I shouldn't have made as much money. But as a woman, you're going to reach a point where you're going to be like, damn, like, I'm too old to have kids. Now these women, like we bring guests on, some of them are talking about I'm freezing my eggs. That's what it's getting to. Women are freezing their eggs because they're obviously realizing like, shit, I'm at a point. Look, what's the actor? He just had a kid at like 67 years old. Men don't have a timeline. Of course you don't want to be a parent at like 60 years old. Eventually you want to have a kid by a certain age as a man. You don't want to be parenting in your 70s. But realistically, we can have kids at any age. Women are going to work these miserable jobs. They're going to get more. They're going to start to age. You know, a lot of these women are on like antidepressants, and they're just like, you're going to turn into this angry, old, bitter feminist woman. You're going to realize like, shit, I could have just stayed home, cooked and cleaned, sat on my husband's face a couple times a week. It wasn't really that bad of a proposition.
We don't have to wait too long for that to happen. Nowadays, women are complaining about it. And they don't realize that feminism was the root cause of this whole situation. So, you know, the empowerment, the equality, they don't think they have rights, which is surprising because they have more rights than, you know, guys ever will now at this point, it seems like. I mean, who can, again, we've said it before, who can get into VIP for free if they want to go out? Who can get on a yacht for free, you know, and get taken care of for free? I mean, that's what, you know, kind of the memo for OnlyFans is, right? Women are basically getting paid for their looks. I mean, can guys do that? I mean, it's kind of unfair. There should be some sort of invention of something where guys have some more equality now. It's kind of surprising.
Since you mentioned OnlyFans, I think that's another important thing we should bring up. So if feminism is about empowering women and supposedly leading them in the right direction to happiness and fulfillment, why aren't they bashing women for selling their bodies online? You're essentially a digital prostitute. And I know that some women don't post nudes. Not all OnlyFans creators post nudes, but still, you're selling your body online digitally. You're basically an online prostitute. I don't see feminists complaining about that. They'll complain about a guy that makes $50K a year. He's a loser. Don't date him. He'll ruin your life. But selling your box online, that's good. You're empowering. You're independent. You're not relying on a man. We live in such a ass-backward society that I don't even know how we're supposed to retract from it. Where do we fix it from here?
Well, did you hear that they're trying to pass some sort of sin tax in Florida with regards to OnlyFans, taxing OnlyFans?
They should.
You know, a certain amount.
They should tax them.
So, I mean, that I'll give my thoughts on that on a later time, but it's crazy. It's kind of gotten out of hand. You know, that's why it seems like they're coming up with these things to, I guess, control it.
You know, I don't even want to get into like the political side of it, but I will say that the government doesn't incentivize women to be married and stay married and have kids. It incentivizes them to get divorced. When do women get the prize? When they divorce the guy, right? Why don't they make it reverse? Why doesn't the government pay families or give them a tax deduction for staying together for 10 years, 20 years? Why don't you do get deductions for having kids, for having dependents, but why are women rewarded for divorcing a man?
Yeah, I think if marriage was 100% guaranteed, I think, women complain about, oh, why are they single? Why aren't men proposing? I think if, happily ever after was actually happily ever after forever and ever, then I think more marriage would occur. But with all the incentives that women are being provided when it comes to getting married to a guy and then eventually divorcing the guy, more than 80% of the divorces are initiated by women. So, because of women getting certain advantages, more advantages that men don't get when it comes to divorce, that's kind of why things are going off the rails, because it's just lopsided now. It's kind of totally opposite now. What it should have been, now it's not.
Mm-hmm.
We're here getting hate. Obviously, people think that we are misogynist, but we're really not. We're actually trying to bridge the gap between men and women. We wish that the nuclear family wasn't being kind of ripped into shreds, but it seems like it is.
If anybody could give us an example of how feminism has benefited women in the short term or long term, please put it in the comments. If anybody disagrees, I would love to hear this. Because so far it's been an absolute disaster. It's destroyed the nuclear family. You have more digital prostitutes than you have ever seen. Women have higher body counts, and I know women hate the whole body count thing, but it's true. Women have higher body counts than ever. Marriages are on the decline. Divorces are on the incline. We're in a declining society because of it. And going back to what I said before, like, look, not to point fingers or play the whole blame game, but have men really changed that much in the last 50 years? Not really. Times have changed, music, culture, yeah, that has changed. Internet has changed a lot. Men haven't really changed that much. What we want now is no different than what men wanted in 1950. What women want now is completely different. In 1950, you bought your wife a dishwasher and she was happy as shit. Go watch a I Love Lucy or something like that. Ricky, buy me a dishwasher. Now these broads want you to be a millionaire, to fly them all over the world. They want you to be a famous, you know what I'm saying?
There's some fault that can be thrown to the men because they are the ones giving them that opportunity. Just like with OnlyFans, they are the one that are giving
correct
that resource, that monetary resource.
We're feeding the problem.
Exactly. So, you can't basically put $5 million in front of somebody and be mad at them if they accept it.
Right.
So, in a way, you can't really throw the blame game in that situation. You can't throw the blame to women because guys are giving it up.
Mm-hmm.
We blame simps.
We're the whores now.
We are the ones who are making it worse for ourselves as men. So if men stop providing and doing all these things and really hold a firm line with women, and we're not talking about just man here or there, all men that have self-respect, that will put a line down for women and not let her cross it when it comes to certain things, they're going to come out winning.
No, it's literally how you have to play it. That example I gave before where Myron told Clavicular, look, when this broad comes to the section, ask her right off the gate, are you down? Are you DTF or not? No problem. No offense taken. That's how you have to play it. Because these broads will take advantage of you and every free attention, free drinks, free whatever the fuck you offer them. They'll just take it and run.
100%.
And then they'll go screw somebody else. That's not us. We didn't make that up. We didn't create those
100%.
Guidelines for women. So
it's one of those things where the empowerment that women have, because women, want to have this empowerment, and it seems like women are going about life with some sort of sense of empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
It's leading to not respecting them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's, causing problems. So again,
the only way to really reverse all this, honestly, it's this whole feminism shit is how men act towards women. That's the only way you're gonna fix it. Women aren't going to fix it. Feminism isn't going to fix it. It's not like feminism is going to just like taper off. It's just going to get worse. How men interact with women has to change. Like not paying for OnlyFans, not giving them free attention. Unfortunately, this is just how you have to play it. You have to be like Myron's. You have to be very, very cutthroat because they're going to be cutthroat with you. Try being a nice guy nowadays. Go ahead. Go be a nice guy. Take her on a date, spend money on her, buy her flowers, compliment her. Let me know.
I mean, the feminism is causing more leverage towards women when it comes to a better deal, right? They're getting a better deal out of the whole thing. So, they can hold feminism over a guy's head. How? Well, I have a lot of options of men. Are you going to be the best guy that's going to treat me well? Treat me well how? Well, resources, money. You're going to treat me like a queen. That's kind of where things are. And it's going to amplify. It's just going to be worse and worse. So, what do men do? Men don't give in. But it has to take a collective because the guys that don't give in, those are the guys that end up more deserving, if anything, of a good relationship, and they end up single.
You'll never hear a woman admit that she has like average standards. You'll never hear a woman admit that like, yeah, I screw losers sometimes. Because women like to portray themselves a certain way. Any podcast that you watch that has women on it, you ask her like what your standards are, they're going to tell you all types of bullshit. Oh, well, he has to treat me right. He has to be emotionally. I always fuck this up. What's it called?
Emotional
intelligence.
Intelligence.
They throw all this shit out there because they're trying to portray themselves as this like damsel in distress. I am a classy lady. I don't sleep around. Right. We believe you. But if you really observe what they actually do, listen to women talk about their previous relationships. That will reveal to you what they're really attracted to. My ex was an asshole. My ex was a narcissist. What I'm hearing is like, you're attracted to narcissists. You're turned on by the asshole. That's how you have to like read between the lines. What women tell you directly is bullshit. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I wonder what's going to happen.
Oh, I want a guy that treats me well. Yes.
And it's tough to be an OnlyFans girl and then say you want a guy that treats you well. I think that's crazy. That's why it's interesting with this whole 50% tax thing in Florida. I wonder where that's going to go. We'll definitely touch base on that, but
fast money comes with slow problems. If that's the price you pay for getting easy money, whether you're a prostitute, an escort, an OnlyFans girl, you will make a lot of money. Some of them will make millions of dollars. It's easy money, but you're going to pay the price for it. You're selling your soul essentially to do it.
It just sucks that guys are giving in and paying for that and not taking their resources, their time, going and bettering themselves, and then having a woman come around and chase them. Obviously, you have to put yourself in position. You can't be, hiding at home behind, let's say, a computer. Like, there's some keyboard warriors here, hating, which is fine. We have supporters, which is also great. Thank you to both of you, to both sides. But it's crazy that men don't put themselves in position too. And avoid, the first thing you have to do is avoid giving in to that temptation to paying for that. Because
look, if you absolutely have to bop your baloney, if you have to crank your hog, do it to the free pictures.
Yeah, but shouldn't even.
Don't pay.
Even.
The problem isn't cranking your hog to their photos. Don't send them not one penny for this shit.
That's a new way to put it, right? No, people, guys are just giving into that, and that's what's causing really the negative effect. It's really causing.
No, men are feeding the problem, and that's 1,000% true because
for the ladies,
if you pay for OnlyFans,
yeah,
you're making them rich. If you treat women well and they give you nothing in return, you're just feeding their narcissistic, egotistical. A lot of these women just think too highly of themselves in general. When in history did women refer to themselves as queens? I'm a queen. You're not a queen. You're a 6 at best. You're slightly overweight. You have a nasty attitude. Most men just want to like clap your cheeks. They see no future with you. You're not a queen. Most of you. And even the girls that are extremely good looking, it's not their looks that are their fault. It's I think most men this will resonate with a lot of men. the better looking the woman, usually their personality, it's their attitude that kills it.
And that's the harsh reality. And that's what
What are the like the most friendly feminine women you've encountered? It's usually like the hogs, the overweight, the women that make the best moms, in my opinion. It's those ones with the big beefy shoulders, the big backs.
See, but now they're asking for a lot too.
They're asking for a lot too.
They're asking
the hogs. The hogs are asking for a lot too, because now the hogs were sold feminism. They want a guy that makes six figures now.
They have options too. You know,
they're told us they want a 6-figure, 6 foot tall guy too now, because they believe they deserve it.
Yeah, they're running around with options too. May not be as many, but they're running around. You know, if one of the most beautiful women out there are running around with thousands of options. I don't know if you came across that one girl who posted a clip online that she had like over 5,000 Hinge connections or something.
Oh yeah, they did a.
I mean, it's crazy.
I've seen a few posts like that where they had a man create like a fake profile, and then they had like a torta create a fake profile, and the torta got like hundreds of.
Yeah, at least
as a woman, you just have to exist. You don't have to provide any value. You don't even have to be good looking. Nowadays, you don't even have to have a nice body. You could just be a.
And that's why their egos are just like sky high, because they know that, if it's not one guy that'll give it to them, they'll find somebody else that will give it to them.
Men and women live two completely different lives. Like, you could be some overweight, grotesque monster and just lay down in the street without clothes on. Somebody will eventually walk up to you and hop on that. As a man, no chance.
There was a woman that I was talking to earlier, and she doesn't seem like she's like that. But again, you never know what they turn into. I mean, they can make a 180 depending on how far you go.
No. Some women absolutely make a do a 180.
So again, for anybody that's hating, you can hate. It's cool, but there are some women that are the exception.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the thing is that we're talking about the majority, and the majority is where things are really going wrong. So that's why I think women can't complain about being single, not having relationships. I think feminism really it was supposed to make relationships healthier, but it's done the opposite. It's made it unhealthy. It's made it really like getting into a relationship is kind of like a poisonous thing.
I think that we can all agree that the happiest, most feminine, fulfilled women are the ones that have husbands, the ones that have kids, that play the motherly role. That's life right there. Not working some soul-crushing job, being single at 45, and then somehow coping with that and telling yourself, like, I'm worth more than that. I'm not settling. That's not what your life is. That's not going to bring you happiness or fulfillment. That job that doesn't give a shit about you.
I haven't seen it yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some women with ego sky high that, maybe wear shirts that say, oh, I'm a queen, or treat me like a queen.
They don't wear shirts, but they definitely say it. They believe it because it's been marketed to them. Feminism has been sold to women through marketing. It's in music. All the single ladies. Oh
yeah.
Or what's the other one? Who runs the world? Girls. Who? Girls run the world. I drive home at night at 9:00 at night, and there's a bunch of guys like working on. We live in Jersey on the Parkway. They're fixing the roads and shit. Women don't run the world. If anything, their box might run the world to a certain extent, but they don't run anything.
Yeah. I mean, again, women can bring positive power into man's life, but women can also bring a negative poison into a man's life, and that's what guys are running away from. It doesn't make sense for guys to work their tail off and then support someone that really disrespects them. It's just,
if you get on a plane and the flight attendant greets you and says, "Welcome to flight blah blah blah," you have a choice today. You could have a male pilot or a female pilot. It's your choice. What are you going to choose?
Oh, I'm going to choose a male pilot.
You call 911. You have an emergency. Somebody's breaking into your house. Somebody just broke into your car. Your house is on fire. You call 911. No problem. We're on our way. Would you like a man to show up or a woman to show up?
You've seen those, some of those, I don't know if you have, those moments online, those viral moments where there's someone being arrested, a woman's trying to arrest a guy, and he overpowers her. It's scary.
No, female cops, I really...
It's scary. I respect the women that are out there that are putting themselves in harm's way to, protect and serve the citizens. But at the end of the day, I think they're, putting themselves in harm's way, like, legitimately. Like, they're going to get hurt. And they should try to...
Do you know why...
do something more reserved in that field.
No, people need to know their place. Why is it that most teachers are women? Why is it that most nurses are women? Why is that a female dominated field? I'll give you guys a minute to think about that.
And we love the ladies. We love the ladies. Nurses are great. I mean,
Well, why is
they
it
do
dominated by women?
they do go around and cheat, but why is it?
Why is it that most teachers are women and why nurses are women?
Well, I mean, those are not jobs that men want to really. I mean, there are men in it, but it's a rarity. Men do harder
Because it is a
stress jobs.
woman's job to take care of kids. That's what they are naturally designed
They're
to do.
nurturers.
They are nurturers.
It's not their thing.
You're in a hospital being treated for whatever. Do you want a woman come in to give you a cold compress on your head to give you a shot, or do you want a man to come in and do that? It's a woman's job to come in and tend to your needs. I don't know about you, but if I was lying in a hospital, I have some sort of injury, maybe I just had a surgery. I don't want a grown man coming in and taking care of me.
Hell no.
You get what I'm saying?
It's more soothing if a woman comes in and takes care of you.
There you go.
So it makes sense. There's a place for both. Who do I want?
Imagine a grown man coming in and be like, oh, does that feel better? Fuck no.
Who's going to go out and take the risk and climb buildings?
Do you want your kids having a man? Like, do you want a male kindergarten teacher? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it would.
We're weird, right?
That would be weird. Yeah. That'd be kind of strange. But I get what you're saying. Women are the nurturers. They're the ones who.
Women are naturally good at that stuff. It's not a coinkydink that most teachers are women, because that is what they're good at. That is what they were put on this earth to do.
Same as
only a woman could handle 30 little kids. A
Same-
man could never handle that shit.
Same as being nurses. They're really good at that.
They're
for the
good at
most
nurturing.
part. Men are better builders, plumbers, electricians, building the roads, welders, oil rigs, doing all those harder jobs. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that men partake in. I mean, men climbing those skyscrapers, it's just nuts.
You just bought a property and you're going to build a house. You want a team of men to build that house? You want a team of women to build that house? If you had a choice.
Yeah. So everybody has their place. Everybody has their role. And it just seems that, women when it comes to relationships and now going, from the root of feminism, they're going away from that type of
It's
role.
all brainwashing. And hopefully, I doubt it. I think at some point, like I said earlier, I think women are going to be a certain point in their career where they realize, like, shit, I am unhappy. This was not the decision I should have made. I probably was better off staying at home, cooking and cleaning, because that's 10 times easier, more relaxing. You're in the comfort of your own home. Your husband works, even if he makes an average salary. Maybe you guys live an average life. Big fucking deal. But at least you don't have to slave for the next 30, 40 years in some office in a job that you can't stand. You have to pretend to like, because let's believe it, most people have to pretend they're happy at their jobs when they aren't, to pay your own bills and be a single woman for the rest of your life with no husband, no kids. And this is, I know this is like, I'm talking like extremes. We do live in a world where, like, in a way, you do need a 2-income household to afford a mortgage, yada, yada. But I'm just saying, this whole idea that women have been sold that their whole value is to stay independent and single and focus on a career and education, I don't know how by now women don't see it. It's bullshit.
Of course.
Oh, I'm an attorney.
I mean,
That sucks for you.
If there's a guy making 200-300 G's, there's a woman working maybe making 50-60K. That's all great, but I think she'd be better suited at home, nurturing and helping grow the family from home.
Look, in some scenarios, female doctor marries a male doctor, both high earning salary, both in the same fields. I could see that working. Dentist, doctor, 2 lawyers. I could see that working. But, honestly speaking, I think a lot of women that work in male dominated fields are going to have masculine traits, and men don't want that.
They don't. But actually, shout out to the women that stick by their guy while they're on their way to success, because women want to wait at the finish line for the winners, right? That's kind of like a common theme. But for the women that support their guy, that stand by his side through the tough times for him to get to where he's at, those are the women that are cherished. Those are the women that are respected. when there's a woman that comes in and she's right away asking a guy what he does, which I guess it'll come up in conversation, of course. But when it's one of the first thing that women ask, oh, what do you do for work or what do you do for your career? It's like one of the first things, like not really getting to know them for them, getting to know them for what they'll bring to the table. You can already tell what type of woman that's going to be. And that's a woman that you want to get away from. That's a woman that you really can't respect.
Yeah, if a woman asks you what you bring to the table, you might as well X that shit out right away, because that's a woman that doesn't understand her role, and she's gonna take you on a terrible roller coaster.
I mean, it's funny because if you turn it sideways, you can ask women, well, because we don't care about her job, right? We don't care what she'll provide financially, but you can ask her what value will she provide other than her looks. What will she bring to the table other than her
Because
looks?
feminism never taught them that. Feminism taught them that they're queens and that they deserve the world and that they should have high standards and they should stay independent. Feminism never really framed it in a realistic way for them. It never really framed it to women and said, like, hey, if you want this type of a man, you also have to be feminine, nurturing. You have to play your role in that relationship to retain that man. Any woman that looks even half decent can have sex with any man. We're not arguing that point. You could be a gross pig and probably still get laid. But are you going to be able to keep and retain? That's where you really measure a woman's like femininity, her ability to really play a woman's role, is your ability to keep a man. I don't know of any masculine women that are able to keep a man long term. I mean, you'll blow your back out or spend money on you for one night, and women complain all the time, right? Like, all men want is one thing. False. It's not true.
Sex is easy to get. It's abundant, especially for, of course, for women and for the guys that have value, that provide value, and that are able to bring something to the table. But you're not going to bring something to the table when the other person isn't bringing something to the table either. It's just unfair. And again, the way things are going, it's now looking good. I think, again, shout out to the women that do it the right way. The women that deserve to be queens and the ones that deserve the world are the ones that are doing the right thing by their man, meaning staying by him during the tough times, helping him win, supporting him, cherishing the guy, respecting the guy. I think that's all great. If more of that happened, what we would be saying, which some people say, oh, well, these guys are complaining. They're coming up as complainer and they're bitching and moaning and groaning and about the bullshit. They keep talking about women. I mean, first off, it's a dating podcast that we run here. So, of course, we're going to be talking about men and women in dating. Today's topic is how feminism is really destroying relationships. And it's one of those things that it's not going to come out right, but it's got to be said, because who's going to say it? If you have a friend that, really wants to be your friend and doesn't want to offend you, they may be giving you little hints here and there about the person that you're with. The person that you're with may be a piece of shit. You may be a guy that you have a guy friend that's telling you this, that's kind of hinting at it. Or you may be a girl and one of your girls is telling you about a guy that's a piece of shit, right? But they may not be full out telling you, well, you should. I would say actually women do this more than guys.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them, hey, leave this guy. He's a piece of crap, because they're single. So they want their girl to be single with them. And
single women keep other women single.
I would say guys are more
Girl, he ain't shit. You can do so much better.
Yeah, I think.
Tell me you didn't hear that one.
Yeah, of course. I've heard that many times, plenty of times.
Loose box, nasty attitude. Girl, you could do so much. Big back, broad, beefy shoulders.
But in general, for a man not to lose his friendship with his friend, or women not to lose her friendship with her friend, sometimes they stay out of it. And that's why you're watching podcasts and watching guys like us telling it how it is and letting you know that, there may be men out there that are not great, or there may be women out there that are not great. And you should not be with that person. That person is not good for you. And there's many reasons to it. And some of the reasons we discussed it today, which could be feminism, could be women affecting men negatively in their relationship. Why? Because they're not fulfilling their role.
You'll notice that a lot of women approach dating like with the same mentality as prostitutes. You're going to pay me for my time. What are you going to pay for in exchange for my time? Are you going to pay my bills? It's really indirect prostitution is like I'm paying you for sex, right? But a lot of these broads, unless you're paying for something of theirs or have the money to provide something they want, or they have a very prostitutish approach to dating. You'll notice modern women don't really talk about emotional connection, romance. Back in the days, the modern woman has been poisoned. This is the work of the devil. This is like some kind of witchcraftery that these women have been casted a spell on. When's the last time you heard a woman say, like, I just want a man to be romantic? They don't give a fuck about romance.
And I think men try to be romantic.
We are the romantic gender. Women are not the romantic gender.
But yeah, they don't accept
Try
it.
to be romantic with a woman and have an average job and be like average looking and maybe a little overweight. They don't give a fuck about romance.
They don't care.
Romance is just like something they portray in movies and shit. Romance has nothing to do with it. I think if anything, men seek romance out of the women, and that's like a red pill moment. I know red pill gets a lot of hate because like people look at red pillers and be like, oh, this is just incel talk. Red pill is not a dating coaching program. Red pill, the whole idea of red pill isn't to like teach you how to talk to bitches in clubs. Red pill is simply awakening and opening your eyes to how women really think and act. That's all it really is. Red pill is just seeing the truth. Women are not the fucking sugar and spice and everything nice that you were taught to believe.
Yeah, it's just really a wake-up call. You know, you can be red-pilled on anything. But
correct. You could be red pill on anything. On jobs, on politics. You could be red pill. It's just you're seeing it.
You're waking up.
The cloud has fucking gone away and you are seeing it for what it really is. That's what red pill really means. It's not anything more or less than that.
The crazy thing is that with all the struggles for both men and women, you know, there are some that are waking up to it, but there's just some that are just completely fast asleep and in fantasy land thinking that, you know, there's some women out there that are thinking that Prince Charming is going to come and sweep them off their feet and give them one of the best weddings and honeymoons and the best life.
No, more and more men are waking up to this shit. And you're going to see the tides. The tides are fucking turning literally as we speak because thanks to channels like us, the Fresh and Fits, the Dan Bilzerians, the whatever pot, there's a million of them. Men have consumed this content. They have accepted the reality and they are fucking taking a step back because the modern woman is something of the devil. I don't hate women. We don't hate women.
We don't.
But they're turning into something of the devil. And like this shit, there's some evil force. I don't even think feminism has been constructed by women themselves. I think this is some evil force behind it. It's almost like they're trying to like depopulate the fucking world because of it. How is it possible that all of a sudden all these like big successful countries are having a population crisis? Japan, China, all of a sudden randomly like people aren't reproducing enough. Is that a coincidence or is that by design?
You know, it's crazy. It's just nuts. And it's really something that people should snap out of. Both men and women. I think men have to snap out of giving in to temptation. I think you're pretty. That's one of those big things, giving into temptation.
That's actually something in the Bible, too.
Buying in the OnlyFans and doing everything that women want you to do. It's not respected. And it's not going to get you laid. You know, we know what it takes to get a woman in bed and to really, really have something special with that woman. But again, you know, a lot of the women that we run into, in general, they don't have it. They don't have what it takes. So what's the point of dealing with that? You build your value up and you run into women that do have what it takes, which I was talking to one earlier, and you know, she's great and definitely someone that doesn't think in that way. And then when women think in that way, it gives them a disadvantage. You know, they lose out on a lot of potential good guys. And it sucks.
Of course, women miss out on good guys left and right.
It sucks. I mean, we're trying to teach men how to be better for the women. Right, we're not telling men to just fuck dating women completely. That's the easy way out, right? If we hated women, if we were misogynist, like some of you guys like to troll and say, then we would say avoid women, don't deal with them. But that's really ridiculous. It's just the easy way out, and not really hammering down on improvement, making yourself better, and having the correct women around you circulating you. And then eventually you have your pick of who you want to be with. If you improve yourself and you put yourself out there, you improve yourself overall, everything, money, etc., all these things that we've said and other podcasts say. Not going to be repetitive tonight. And you put yourself out there and you meet women and you talk to women. You don't think you're going to have 3 or 4 that are, in a group of, let's say, 40. You don't think you're going to have 3 or 4 that are going to have some sort of interest in talking to you? Now the game is to be able to communicate and be social with them, to feel the vibe, right? To go with the flow and not to make everything so mechanical, I'm going to talk to a woman and I have to do this and I have to do that. No, you just got to play the vibe. You have to just go with the flow and feel it out. Say what's up, do your thing, be you. And if it works, great. I mean, it's already working if she's noticing you, because a lot of men are invisible to women. Mm-hmm. So if she's noticing you, you're already most of the way there. But that's kind of like, that's one of those things where men don't realize that. You have to put yourself out there, and you have to stop hiding behind a computer. We put ourselves out there, and we put ourselves in a situation where it ends up working out. Because we are building something, and it's recognized.
Nowadays, as a man, you really have to mirror a woman's vibe and energy and her approach to dating. Because if you encounter a woman that feels she's hot shit, that she makes more money, that she's more sexy, she fucking deserves it, you have to mirror that shit. You have to act like you're more important than her. You have higher standards than her. You have to this is what it's come to. Men and women, we've said this over and over many times. Men and women are in a competition. We bring girls on and they'll start bragging about what they do for work. We don't give a fuck what you do for work.
Yeah. We're happy.
I don't care if you're a fucking astrophysicist with a PhD. It means absolutely nothing to us.
I mean, we're happy for them, and we wish them the best of success. But for us in a relationship context, it doesn't do anything for us.
It goes to show you that they don't even understand what men want. Oh, I'm an astronaut. I don't give a fuck what you are. Is your box shaved? Are you feminine? Do you know how to act? They have that's like. You know what? It's like a woman bragging about her career is like a man bragging about how much he bench presses. Imagine you tell a girl, I bench press 315. She's going to be like, what the fuck? I don't give a fuck how much you bench. You know what I'm saying? You're bragging about something that's important to you, but she doesn't give a shit about it. And this is how women don't know what the fuck men want. It's either they don't know what men want or they're so bought into this feminist shit that they don't even know themselves what the fuck they're doing.
I do notice that. I do notice guys going a little over the top in the gym and not having the correct form, having way too much weight, thinking that that's going to lead to a great result with a woman.
I don't see that.
I don't see that happening. I mean, maybe that's great for personal achievement and all, but, guys in the gym, be careful with overdoing it because, I see some guys doing these crazy weights that outdo them. There's weights that they're less in size than us, and I see them doing more weight than we do. It's just freaking insane.
Yeah, at the gym, if I could give anybody advice, and I'm stealing this directly from Kai Green. There's a great video on YouTube. If you're into working out, look up Kai Green on YouTube, and he does these workout videos. And what he stresses over, this is a professional bodybuilder that's been in it for 20 years. What he stresses over and over again is, as a bodybuilder, your goal isn't to lift the heaviest weight. Your goal is to contract your muscle under tension and then to release the weight under tension. If your goal is muscle mass and getting stronger and leaner, you should use a weight that you can comfortably control and release. It doesn't matter if you're bench pressing, curling, tricep extension, overhead extension, squatting, whatever. what we do see a lot, we've been in the gym for like 10 plus years. I've been doing this shit since I was like 16 years old. A lot of guys get into the gym and they call that ego lifting. You just throw on like massive amounts of weight and you just like throw it around. Like you grab 50-pound dumbbells and you think you're curling. No, you're supposed to contract it on the controlled manner. That's how you effectively lift the weight. So yeah, there are people that you're in the gym, you want to show people that you lift a lot of weights, you throw on the heaviest amount. That's not the answer. I would rather see you curl 20-pound dumbbells with the correct form.
Yeah,
I'll go get another drink.
Yeah, I've seen guys pass out because they dropped the weight on them and they couldn't handle it. I mean, it's just insane. So that's something that you don't want to overdo. You know, you really want to take care of yourself, be cautious, and we'll talk more about the gym, working out. I mean, we've kind of hopped on dating throughout the majority of our channel, but we'll mention it like we just started talking now about the gym and how to handle it and what to do in certain cases. I mean, I did see also back when I was in high school, just guys doing these squats with like 600-700 pounds. I mean, just insane shit. And I was like, damn, you're going to break yourself. Like you're going to break your back. You're going to hurt yourself, pull some muscle or something. And I see that now once in a while where guys are over exaggerating on certain things. And, you know, maybe it's for a personal accomplishment, which is great that they want to have some sort of accomplishment and whatnot. But really at the risk of your health and hurting yourself, injuring yourself, I think that's something to really kind of try to avoid in that case. So we'll be wrapping it up soon because we do have a stream tomorrow. We have a lovely lady coming on. It'll be a good one. But and nobody's, you know, we haven't really engaged too much with the chat. Nobody's really super chatted anything in. So getting some support, which we appreciate. We're getting some hate, which is fine. You know, we appreciate both of you types of folks being on this late or this early, if you want to call it that. We're about 5:21 a.m. on the East Coast. And, you know, we do appreciate the support and the hate. Either way, it makes the podcast what it is. But any kind of closing remarks, conclusions with all this?
I'll just close it with a simple statement.
I know we started
Feminism is the work of the devil. It has ruined the modern woman. Most men, most straight men love women. We love to interact with them. We would love nothing more than to have women into our lives. But modern women are turning into something of the devil. And I think feminism is purely to blame for it. Hopefully women will eventually wake up to it and realize that feminism is not the answer. Hating men is not the answer. Chasing careers and success, to a certain degree, yes, but it's not what your life is about.
100%. And yeah, I mean, I think feminism is kind of, in this case, the root of all evil. It's one of those things where
It's witchcraft.
Women would have been better retracting that. So if there are women out there practicing feminism for themselves in this regard with dating relationships, they're better off kind of going backwards with that and finding their role, finding their place. I think they're better off doing that. They're going to come out winning with men, and they're going to get more opportunities for a better relationship with men, more fulfilling relationship with men. And like I said, like we've said, we love the ladies. You know, we wouldn't have ladies on our show if we didn't love ladies. If you guys are new coming into our show, make sure you do subscribe to the channel, and you'll see more videos and episodes, podcasts coming on with the women as our guests, us asking them questions. I think we're pretty respectful.
We're doing a live tomorrow with a Colombian singer, Sasha Prenez. We've had her on multiple times. Amazing person, fun as hell to talk to. 2 p.m. tomorrow, roughly 3 p.m. Check out the live tomorrow. You guys aren't going to want to miss that one.
We'll probably do that earlier in the day. Be on the lookout for it. You know, and that the best way to do that is to subscribe to the channel. So whether you support or you want to come in and pour in some hate, either way, we're happy to have you. And but yeah, we'll be having her on, and we'll talk about some great things. We'll see if she doesn't want to talk about her colognes that she has. You know, we are even promoting the ladies that come on the show. I mean, it's, you know, when I hear people say, "Oh, you're misogynist, you hate the women," I mean, I think we're trying to build a great bridge between both men and women. I don't see why, you know, why can't be this discussed? Why can't we have a great discourse here and discuss this? And there will be some things that people don't like about what we say, which is fine. And we see a lot of feedback on things that we do say. So I think that everybody has to really be open minded to it, and really, just some people have to just truly wake up, from where they are. And we don't want anybody to realize the hard way. We don't want to see that woman. Sometimes you come across that woman who's older, in her 50s, 60s, and oh, I regret not having a family, not having kids.
You know what? I hear older women say like, "Oh, they're saying that because I'm old. I could still get it because I'm old. Of course, you could be 50 years old and guys are still going to bang you. We're not saying that. We're not saying that men aren't going to have sex with you because you're older. Our argument is that at that age, your life fulfillment it's too late. Don't tell me you're going to have a kid at 50 years old. Of course, guys are going to bang you at 50 years. They'll bang you at 60, 70 years old. But your life achievement of being a mother and having kids and spending the next 18 years raising your kids, it's over.
Yeah,
because you worked in the HR department.
And it's just crazy. I mean, of course, have your cats and dogs, but also have your family. Have something wonderful that you can grow and keep that legacy going. You want to pass on what you have to your kids and keep that for generations and generations. And that's what's scary about the whole 2030 and half of the women being single and childless. You don't want to see that. But unfortunately, you try to have these conversations with women. I mean, even on the show here, with some of the hate that we get, there is no understanding, especially some of the women. We've had a back and forth with some of the women in the comments. Just, there's really no understanding. Obviously, there's things that you may have gone through personally in your personal life, and with all respect to you, we wish it would have gone better, but you don't want to drag that on to the next relationship. You want to get away from that relationship and be open-minded to someone that's going to be better. And, of course, the blame has to be thrown to the men too. You can't be not working on yourself and improving yourself and being a valuable part of the relationship, which there are guys that aren't. So
women need to shy away from this idea that they need a millionaire, that they need XYZ, a certain lifestyle. Women need to realize that it's the man that is there for you and treats you right that's going to be your best bet. That's the red pill for women, by the way. All this bullshit about they need 6 feet tall, 6 figures, a man, that's all BS. That's all feminist propaganda nonsense. If women just generally dated guys that treat them well, that are there for them, they'd be 10 times better off. That's my final thoughts. 5:30. I think we'll
we're going to start hopping off again, guys. Thank you for coming on, the haters and the supporters. We appreciate you both. We're going to be back on tomorrow, as Rob said, with Sasha Prentice, the lovely Sasha Prentice. All of you guys say, "Oh, these guys hate women." No, not really. We're going to have a lovely lady on tomorrow with Sasha Prentice back again. She's back again. Some of these ladies can't get enough of the podcast, guys. They keep coming back for more. So we're going to have her on again. Weather permitting, we do have some snow coming in. So hopefully the weather stays good. She can come on over here and we can get this going tomorrow and, help, it's crazy that people call us, misogynists and haters of women when, we're only here to create better men for them, to have a better relationship with them, to point their flaws out and their negatives out and wake them up, and hopefully they change. But again, one day you realize it. My final message is that, hopefully you realize that feminism is a lie. It's been something that sort of like a scam that's been sold to you, and change your ways for the better. We want to see both sides happy. We want to see, the world is, pretty unhappy. It's an unhappy place throughout. And, we don't want to see that. We want to see people being more positives. We always have, our good and bad days. And, my mindset is take the good and the bad the same way. You have a great day. You enjoy it and keep it going. And you have a rough day, you take it in, and you're like, oh, that's a lesson learned. Move on. You take advantage of the day, because that's why they call it a present. The present time is a true present. That's something that you really want to take advantage of and cherish, because that time doesn't come back. You spend all your time hating and frustrated. It's something that you have to look within yourself and figure out to make that change and make it better for yourself and your relationships, whether it's with the opposite sex or a friend, family, or just in person in general, just to be a better human being.
I want to highlight a quick comment. Always speaking the truth. Keep up the good work, boys. Appreciate you. Thank you for the support. Thank you guys for sticking with us and watching us. Somebody wrote, what does a woman want? Not you two. I would say what both women want is to be used and abused. That's why they have body counts of 100 plus. Why are they yelling? Okay, the rest is nonsense. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching.
Thanks, guys, for watching. Thanks for the support, the hate. We'll see you next time. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel on YouTube. We wish we would have been able to interact more with the comments, but nobody really super chatted anything in, so we were trying to stick to the topic at hand. But again, subscribe to the channel. Follow us on YouTube, The Podcast Guys, or The Podcast Guys _ on Rumble, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify. We have all these platforms, Threads, and we're on X, The Podcast Guys 5. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be back, and peace out.